Black holes. It is among one of the most popular words in the world in recent times. Imagine a black hole of the size of a subatomic particle. It's fascinating just to think about it. Yep, keep watching the video to understand what that is. Hi, I am Vivek and this is Exposed. As I have stated in my previous videos, that the majority of the scientific community is in the search of an equation that unifies the macro and micro avenues of physics. To do that, they have to find the similarities among them and extrapolate that and formulate something. In this predetermined journey, we encounter some paradoxes, which are simply not feasible in physical conditions what we know. In this video, one such paradox, if solved, which can unify the avenues mentioned before, is explained briefly. 1915. Einstein gave general theory of relativity to the world, and then after some 20 years there was another part of physics that was established, that is quantum physics, and every physicist wanted them to be unified. But in everyday life, the results of general theory of relativity are irrelevant when seen through the quantum system, and that is the same case when the results of quantum physics are applied for macro objects. For example, macro objects have definite results for their motions and are not quantized for every calculation, whereas a little particle doesn't curve the gravitational field as the moon or sun does. The places where the unified results are relevant are like the singularity of a black hole, the moment the Big Bang happened, and other theoretical spaces. But some people took this seriously and realized they should change the grammar of their thinking to see any productive results. One of the pioneers in doing this was Matei Bronston, a young Russian physicist. He and some other physicists in the 1930s thought of something on the lines of converging already hypothesized Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and the general theory of relativity. Consider an area of space so minute it can only contain a couple of subatomic particles. When we try to observe this space, according to the findings of Werner Heisenberg, the particles try to escape with a higher velocity. That means the more you try to observe the area accurately, the faster the particles escape. So, when we try to observe accurately, we are just increasing the velocity of the particle escaping. So, this releases a great amount of energy. This is where general theory of relativity comes into the picture. When a great amount of energy is released, it should curve the space around it. As space is actually too narrow to curve, what happens is it curves but it collapses into a black hole as a collapsing star. But if this happens, we can't even observe the particle. So realizing this, Matei and co. formulated a rather non-complicated equation to find the minimal region of space required to observe anything, and it's called Planck length and is denoted by this symbol. But unfortunately, before Matei could continue the work, he was executed by the Stalin government as he was a strong Lenin follower. Then came the great guy who mentored the likes of Richard Feynman and Kip Thorne, John Wheeler. He continued this work. He explains this problem as follows.
Electromagnetic field through space and the gravitational field. It's wiggle-waggling all the time. What we think of as smooth, simple space is really a wiggly business. I don't know any better image for it than the look of the ocean as one comes down from a plane high above the ocean. It seems to be a perfectly smooth surface. You come down closer, you see the waves, and as you get still closer, you see the waves breaking, and you see foam. And I think it must be the same in the geometry of space.
So, he working with David formulated an equation using the famous Hamilton-Jacobi equation to find the results beyond the Planck length. In this course, physicists with a particular destination, that is to find what happens beyond Planck length, got a few Nobel Prizes. But interestingly, they didn't get it for anything related to Planck length or quantum gravity. They got it accidentally. For example, two Dutch physicists got the Nobel for explaining the nuclear forces. But after a long journey of closing dead ends and such other wild adventures, today we have a basic understanding of quantum gravity, but not the whole picture. The next thing physicists found, which is the basic thing we know, is that quantum gravity depends on some closed lines. In other words, loops in space. They found this by solving the Wheeler-DeWitt equation for different Planck lengths. As the Planck length became smaller, the loops became complicated. This is what we know now. This is the birth story of another theory that is going towards finding unity. That is the theory of loop quantum gravity. This is Exposed, and I am Vivek. Peace out.